Welcome back to another video. So we're going to take a look at how we can import vectors within Blender, and we're going to see how we can deform them. So for example, over here we see the new Dacia logo, and I can easily bend this around like this. So to get started, we're going to take a look initially over here on the new visual identity from Dacia website. We're gonna have the possibility to download over here. So we see they have two images. So this will be the new logo. If I will go over here, we can have this downloaded as a JPEG. Now we need to trace that in order to convert it within a mesh in Blender, or we can download the HD JPEG over here. So we see over here it's quite weird that one will be HD and one low definition, but we see the file size over here. So this will actually be higher than that. So the one which is lower. Okay, and we see over here that this should actually make a zip file from their website, but it's not working. But I already extracted this PDF file over here. So this will be the PDF. And we're going to start with this one. So I already had that downloaded, and this will be the new Dacia visual identity. And the main problem with this PDF file is that we see the logo has been added as a JPEG. That means this is made from pixels. While we have the text over here, this will be vector. So they could have easily added within the PDF from the press release a PDF file that would integrate vectors, but that's not a problem because we're going to see how we can work around and have that trace within Inkscape. So I will close this PDF, and within Inkscape I will open the following file. So I will select the PDF file over here, and I will just open this. So I will paste that. And we're going to see over here within the import dialog box that we can import all the pages, and this is what we want. And we also want to embed the image. So I will click OK, and we're going to see that Inkscape will now open that PDF file. And this is why I recommend Inkscape, since this is open source, and this is a great tool to work with. And now, I already added over here, for example, we see on the steering wheel, we have this mesh. And this one will be the logo. Now I extracted those over here. One of those will be this one. So I can just copy paste it and I will put it over here. And the other one, the emblem, will be this one. So I could just move that because it doesn't matter if I'm going to change the PDF. But we see that these will both be a raster image. So they are made from pixels. Now we need to trace them. So go up to Path, Trace Bitmap, and the following window will pop up over here. For the tracking detection mode, I will go over here for multicolor, and I will just go over here for colors, and I will just select two colors in this case. Now, if you don't see a preview over here, this means that this JPEG will initially need to be ungrouped. So I will ungroup that, and we're going to see within the preview this will appear. I will do the same over here. And afterwards, it's important over here not to add multiple scans, because for example, if I will leave it like this with 5 and I will hit apply, Inkscape will output the following file. So we have a wide variety of green palettes over here. So that's not what we want. We just want the outline to be traced. Therefore, I will go over here and I will go for scans 2. This is the minimum amount. And in this case, it's not needed to increase the speckle since we don't have any small spots over here. And also, we can change the optimize curve over here. For example, I will leave it like this with 0.2. I will hit apply. And this will be the output. If I will right click on the output and go over here within ungroup, I will delete the background, and this will be the vector. If I will go over here to node tool, we're going to see a total number of points that define this. So we have also some small radius, but this is more than decent and we can work with this within Blender. And I will do the same over here. So again, scans will be set to 2. I will hit apply. I will then ungroup this. I can delete the background. We can also remove the background over here if we want to, but in this case, since we are tracing and this will be on a white background, that shouldn't be any problems. So we have the following outline vector over here. Again, if I will go over here, we're going to see a total number of points that define this. So even though this is not perfectly symmetrical, as we can see over here, this will be more than fine for this case study. And I will select the first vector, which is this one, and I will have it exported. In order to bring it within Blender, I'm going to go with a plain SVG file. So give this a name. I will call this, let's say, my desktop Dacia 1, which is that one. And the other vector, I will name this Dacia 2. I will hit save. And now within Blender, I can start bringing in those elements. To do that, I can go up to File, Import, and I can go over here for Scalable Vectors. I can select multiple elements if I want to, but initially I'm just going to select the first logo, which will be Dacia 1. I will hit Import, and over here on the bottom, we're going to see the following paths. I will select underneath that folder because that will be added as a collection. So this will be the collection. I will select everything underneath that collection, holding down Shift. And we're going to see that currently within that export, we're going to have everything loaded over here. So we have this one over here, which is a simple path. I will just delete that. We're going to have that one that we don't need and that one that we don't need. And this mesh will represent the emblem, and over here we're going to have the text. So within Inkscape we can also do export selected only, and this is something that I didn't did previously, because I can just select what I want to. I can hit select export only, and afterwards if I will hit export, but in this case let me just call this Dacia 3. Since I have the export selected only checked, when I'm going to click that, and I will go back to Blender, File, Import, SVG. I can select that, and we're going to see that the path will be added over here. So keep that in mind, that it's important, just like within Blender, when we're going to do an export, it's important to do this limit to the selected objects only, if you want to do it like that. Okay, so now let's get started with the emblem. I will select it. This will be loaded as a path, and we can see it over here within the product tree. We should convert this to a mesh. So I will just duplicate this. I will press Shift D because I also want to keep the original as an editable. So afterwards, on the newly created component, I will also enable the screencast key so you can see what I'm pressing. I will right click and I will convert this to a mesh. After this has been converted to a mesh, we're going to see that we are going to have a triangle that indicates a mesh over here, no longer a path. So if I will press tab to go to edit mode, I can select everything by pressing A, and I can have this extruded by pressing E, and afterwards we're going to see that this will go on the Z-axis. And I will just slightly extrude it like this. And afterwards, this will be the resulting emblem. Now, we see over here that the origin of this will be located over there. We can swap it by going over here to Object, Set Origin, Origin to Geometry. And that will try to give us, let's say, the middle. In this case, it didn't actually position it within the middle, so I can hold down Shift, do a right click over here, and afterwards set the origin to the 3D cursor. And now I can have this scaled by pressing S, and I can have this grabbed and position over here close to the car. I will just move this over here. So in this case I'm just gonna hide it because those will be linked, and this will be within the local axis, but I will just move them over there. The same with this one, and the one that I just brought in, I will press 7 on the numpad, or you can go over here, and I will position it over here onto the middle, and afterwards I will grab it and move it over here. I will scale it a little bit, so only on the z-axis, so it won't be that that long, that extruded edge. And now I can have this rotated by pressing R. Afterwards I can select the axis, in this case X, and I will rotate it like this. If I will press 3, this will give me the side view, and over here I can better see how I will align this. So we see that the alignment is quite good. I will just add it over there, and now I will just scale it to make it a little bit smaller over here. I will select the old logo and I will just delete that. And now I will change over here the local axis, and if I will press grab and Z, we're gonna see that the Z axis will now go onto this local axis. And we can better align this over here, also on the Y axis, and afterwards a little bit on the Z. So the logo will be positioned like this. If you want to do something similar like this one over here, where we want to have the possibility to bend the logo, we're going to need to do some conversion, because if I will just select the logo as it is over here, and if I will go with a modifier, for example a simple deform, we're going to see that the mesh will look like this. So we're going to have a lot of lines over there. This is mainly due to the fact that the wireframe of this object looks like this, so we're going to have those small inner triangles that we need to adjust. We can also do that bending. For example, I can change a different axis, but it will bend like this. This is also because of the poor geometry that the model has. Also, because of the orientation of the axis, we can only bend it onto this direction. And as we can see over here, this will act a lot more smoother. So over here I can bend it like this, and if I will go and check the wireframe will look like this. I can also check the wireframe by pressing tab, and we're gonna see that initial wireframe of the model, and this is after this has been bended, and I should apply this if I want the geometry to be added over there. Now, to do something similar over here, I will just duplicate this and position it over here. And we need to do a remesh for this. So we can do that within sculpting environment, but we can do that directly over here. I can just select the path, I can go to add modifier, and I can type in over here remesh. With voxel, this will disappear, but if I will go to sharp, with the octave depth set to 4, this will be the output. Now, if I will go over here and see the wireframe by pressing tab, this will not be active until I will apply it. So I will go over here and I will have this applied. But in order to apply this, I need to exit edit mode by pressing tab. Now I can apply it. And now the geometry will look like this. Now we can further subdivide this if you want to. I can press tab, A, right click, subdivide everything, and I can do that, for example, twice. This will be a lot better, and this will deform a lot better. If I will now add a simple deform again, we're going to see that I can now twist it, and we're going to have those visual elements, but we can just apply a smooth for that, and that will no longer be visible within the viewport. So we see how we can twist this on various axes, and the geometry will act a lot better than previously. And we can also do the following bending. Now, we're going to see that by default, those options for the bending will not give us the possibility to bend it like that. That is because we also need to define an additional axis system over here. So to do that, I'm going to press Shift A, empty plain axis, and that will be the axis system. I will move it over here within the viewport. I can also scale this if it's larger than the model. I can also have this snapped over here. So I will press G to grab. Afterwards, I will hold down B. So you don't need to hold it down, you just need to press it once. You can take that middle vertex and you can have it snapped over there. And we see how that has been positioned. Now we can do a local rotation for this one. So I'm within the local axis. If I will press R and Y, we can have this turned, for example, like this. And afterwards, within the deform, over here we can define an object where we want to bend as an origin. So I will just select that empty axis. And now we're going to see that it will act like this. So we still need to further define that orientation. So if I will just select this and I will rotate this onto the global axis, for example, onto the z-axis 180. Now if I'm going to bend this against the y-axis, it will actually rotate like that. So we need to define that that axis rotation a little bit better as we have it over there. So I'll just press R in order to rotate this. And we see over here, if I will just move this, I can verify various rotations for this. So if I will rotate this on the X, something like this with 90 degrees. If I will select again the mesh, I have the possibility to now bend it against that. So this is how you can easily define some rotations. In this case, this is a little bit twisted. If I will gonna check the orientation for this, we're gonna see over here this will be 0, 180 and minus 360. And we're gonna have the following result over here. If I will go again and adjust it on the z-axis, now it will bend like this. So we still need to further rotate the axis in order to obtain the rotation like we have over here, because if I'm going to check the rotation that I defined over here, we're going to see that this will almost join over there. If I'm going to check the orientation of this one, we're going to see minus 90. I'm going to add over here 90 and I'm going to add over here 35. So just like it used to be over there. If I will select this again, and now I can do that perfect bending. So keep in mind that you will need to adjust the rotation of those axes. So in this case, if I'm gonna go with something similar like this one, minus 90 for the first one. Let's see, 35 and 90 onto the second axis. If I will go over here on the y-axis, we're gonna see that we can do that perfect bend, which will actually convert this almost close to a cylinder. So this is the main advantage of Blender, and we can easily design everything using this. And also another great functionality is that we can use directly vectors, so we no longer need to have those logos drawn, because we can also do that. For example, this one from Dacia is not that complex. Now over here I will also add that logo onto the steering wheel, so I'm just going to move that aside. If I will press Alt and H to unhide this, I also splitted this window because initially it was nested like this. So I will show you over here onto the other side. I will press Tab, select a point over here, I will grow this selection. You can also find that over here within more or less, more, if you don't have a numpad. Afterwards, press P to separate that selection. And now I can just hide that glass separately. And I have over here this logo that I want to add over there. Now we're going to see that this will be the following path. And I will also set the origin to be in the middle. If I will select everything and I'm going to try to extrude this, we're going to see it will not work. This is because this hasn't been converted to a mesh. So just like previously, we need to convert this to a mesh. Afterwards, select everything, have it extruded on the Z-axis. And we can just apply this onto the steering wheel. So I'm just gonna grab this, press B to grab a point, and I will add that point over there. I will press the comma on the numpad to zoom in, and now I will just have this rotated. So I can use the global axis, and I will rotate it once over here 180 degrees. Afterwards, onto the x-axis, I need to go into this direction, so over here, minus 66 for example. And now I can just have this scaled. And I can also position like this. We're gonna see over here the overall rotation will be like that. So I can just make the logo a little bit smaller and I can add it over here. And afterwards I can go within the local axis and I can have this logo pressed against that steering wheel. We can also use some shrink wrap over here in order to add that, just like I showed you within my previous video when I added those vectors for Red Bull and so on onto the car. So this is how you can modify existing cars. For example, over here onto the back, I encourage you to add that new logo as well. So I can just select the one over here, or maybe the one that is a little bit twisted. So I can just copy this over here, and I can change that angle to be a little bit different. And over here, if I will select the back, you're gonna see that everything will be joined together. So I need initially to delete the existing emblem. So do a grow selection, separate that, and afterwards you can have that deleted. We're still gonna have the rim over here, so select that as well, separate, and have that reselected and deleted. And afterwards we can have this moved, but if you want to have this deform like this, we can either apply this and that will maintain it even though I will move it, or I should move it with the axis system together. So keep that in mind. I can move it over here, I can go to the back and I can have this rotated onto the x-axis and I can have it snapped over there. So now I will press 1 for front view, afterwards press 9, that will give you the back view, and now we can add that logo over here. And afterwards, within the local axis, I can select those and I can move them, but keep in mind that they will have different local axes, so now I can just convert this, apply it, and have the logo move towards the car. And yeah, we can further adjust the location by swapping the axis, so like this. We see that this is still not aligned to that, so I still need to rotate it over here and now move it over here. And now this will be better aligned and added over there. Maybe with the rotation, this should have been a little bit bent differently, but this is more than decent for rendering. If I'm gonna zoom out, I'm gonna check the car from the back, it will look like this. And from the front, we're gonna have that logo added. So, if you enjoy this kind of content, I will position a similar video over here onto the left side, and I will also add a subscribe button to the right. So, that's it. Thanks for watching.